Welcome back, everyone, to Dead by Dawn Season 3 quarterfinals. We have Astral killing here on the Ghostface set versus Glacial Survivors. We had a minor delay as one of Glacial's Survivor members had their PC spontaneously combust on them and are now playing on the backup rig. And as we start this first chase, I am not alone. I am joined today by Baron. Baron, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good about this set. Ghostface is one of my favorite sets in all of comp. A matter of fact, it was my very first comp match ever when I had first started out in comp, and so it has a really special place in my heart. This was back when S2 was still up and running, so it's always a treat to go back and go over games like this. Now, Ghostface is running a very typical build. We have Ruin, Undying, Sloppy, and PR. Honestly, I think our Ghostface has a really good chance to set up something decent here. We have a somewhat loose 3-gen down bottom side, and I'm pretty anxious to see what he does with it.
Yeah, our Ghostface not getting caught in that trap of taking the first chase and taking tags. He's doing a good job of spreading that stock around and applying pressure that the survivors really can't account for or answer. And playing the really slow, methodical game that we love to see out of a Ghostface that's playing very well. What you would expect out of their pick. And the survivors caught out here a little bit as the cave is going to get fully stocked as Ruin goes down or Undying goes down.
Now, this is a little unfortunate, and I would say this isn't the most advantageous chase for him to take, because his Ruin is down in the midst of that 3-gen, down bottom around, 4 to 6. And not only is the 3-gen there, but his other totem is there as well. He does get the down, but the question is at what cost? Can he really take that all the way down 4? That's the question, and he fucks up he didn't get the pallet save. Excuse me, I'm still in Halloween mode. He doesn't get the pallet save, and we do see a hook possibly coming in at 3. This could be really good for him.
Yeah, the ace trying to get that pallet save after not being able to quite make the body block for his Kate there. And yeah, I mean, this hook position is a little bit awkward because it's a little bit out of his 3-gen. And like you pointed out, the totem is here as well. And as we hear, there's a lot of progress here. So he's going to have to take a lot of work to secure this 3-gen and secure a good result for his team and opting to just let the hook go because of it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I can't help but to wonder while looking at this if Jolt wouldn't have been a great pick here. Um, I mean, Jolt can be kind of a hit or miss, but in these sets, you really, I mean, as in with any set really, but like in the Ghostface set especially, holding a 3-gen as long as you possibly can is, the way to go, and I think Jolt probably would have gone a long way there, but perhaps we're playing around the new, well, it's not so new anymore, but the gen kick limit, which is totally fair as well. We do see a reset coming in on Kate. The question is whether or not they're going to get found. They're healing at that God Pallet 6. So there's a really good shot, and he does find it. That's so huge. We have 2 injured survivors down here right in the gens. The only question is whether or not our Ghostface can wrap up this chase before 8 pops.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like our Ghostface is putting a lot of eggs in this ruined basket. I do agree with that. But he did manage to find the reset, which is huge because he wants as many downs in this 3-gen as he can possibly manage to continue to secure it. And it seems like that was a very short chase to allow him to, opt to go back to this hook.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I can't help but to wonder if giving up the option of that PR right there was really the play. Now, it's not necessarily that it's gone, but to continue to pursue this up top instead of hooking down in the 3-gen, I can't help but to wonder what he's thinking.
Yeah, definitely risky. I mean, he was a very clear hook inside of his 3-gen, but I think at this point he's in such a good spot that he's probably just opting for that tunnel out, get somebody out of the game. But this chase is going on for quite some time. Survivor's playing very well. They know their distance. They're know that they have no stock because they just got unhooked and got reset, and they're very content taking this chase.
Not only are they very content taking this chase, but he's taking this chase so long, he's about to lose his Ruin. Ace is on that Bodmet Ruin as we speak. So Ruin's about to be gone. He's taking chase out of his 3-gen, near completed gens. The survivors are playing this incredibly well. I can't help but to wonder if, what Ghostface is thinking here.
Yeah, I mean, it was very risky of him to, try to play for that tunnel out, which is very standard in M1s. We see that quite common. But for playing that slow, methodical game at the beginning, then building up all that pressure, he kind of just let it all go. And he had what was seeming all the eggs in his basket. And now we have to imagine that, like, that 3 gen is not going to stay very long. And he can't really protect this hook if he wants to try and prevent it.
Yeah, no, honestly, at this point, I think the play he's wanting to go for is he's going to ignore the gens. He's going to let what's going to pop, and he's going to try to go in for a confirm. Now, the person they sent up is the only person on the team that was 99, and I think because of drop leg, she is down, gone, out of here. Someone is going up for that save right now, so he is going to slug for the pressure and hopefully get this tunnel out going. Ace opting not to take the body block possibly quite yet. Maybe, okay, I don't think that's going to come in at all, or at least not at the moment. And I think that we may just see a really early tunnel out. This could be really good for him.
Yeah, you see that very methodical early game really paying off there with the Nancy not knowing that she was fully stocked and allowing the ghost face to get that quick down and now continue our tunnel out. But the ace is still here. They just knew that the Claw was going to be safe in that chase. So, oh, and a big swing from downtown, securing the down and the tunnel out. This is really huge for the ghost face here, especially since the 3 gen is still not broken.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, their gen progress, while it isn't awful, does leave a little something to be desired. And it looks like the one gen that was just about to pop is possibly the one that's being interrupted at this moment. Wait, no, it isn't. So what is Kate doing? So we do have. So there were two active gens. There was the one Nancy, not Nancy, Nancy was on, and then the one that Kate was on. It seems Kate has just got back on hers. She could be somewhere around 5, if I'm not mistaken. Not moving her camera like all that much, so I can't exactly tell. But this is looking like a really great result for the Ghostface if he keeps this up.
Yeah, I mean, the Claudette went down by a gen that had a lot of progress on it. And I have to imagine that that's probably the gen that the Kate was working, and she had just pre-stealthed it as Claudette was moving down the map. But it still hasn't popped yet because, I mean, that Kate is injured. She can't really afford, and we know that there's another gen with an incredible amount of progress. And you just can't really afford to work it because if you don't know where the ghost face is and you're injured, it's just not safe for you.
No, exactly, and I think she was working that gen that I thought she was at, and she does get caught at Excise. And if I'm not wrong, they are playing on ping here, right?
I'm not actually sure.
I'm gonna assume that they are. I saw a few funny hits on Nancy, um, and ordinarily, if you're on native ping, that's a completely safe palette. So I just am kind of assuming that they are playing on ping. That is going to be a down on the Kate. And I'm interested to see how they're gonna play this. So they had two gens that were decent prog. One is presently regressing at 5, and then the other one was Nancy's gen. I don't think I've seen Ace on a gen in this time. So I'm really curious how they're gonna play this because I mean, I don't want to count them out, the survivors, just yet, but it really looks like the best they can hope for at this present moment is a 4K3.
Yeah, I mean, the ghost face is incredibly difficult even when you're in the 4v1 to get anything done, especially if you don't know where he is and he's built up that slow, steady stock pressure. But once you're in the 3v1, it just becomes exponentially more difficult. And it's going to be a very insurmountable task for these survivors to try and get much more than a singular generator out of this time.
No, I agree, and that will be Kate's final moments within this trial. Um and I don't believe we have a great deal of. Okay, no. We do have some Gen Prog that Gen 8 did just pop. Ghostface still is an amazing 3 gen to play off of here. And I mean, not that he's really gonna need it. Ace is stealthing up top main. And Nancy is down bottom map at the moment. So this is if our Ghostface finds her where she is at 5, This could be a really good match for him indeed. I think this could be a 4K3, but if he didn't find her soon enough, this Gen 5 could pop and could be end up being a 4K2 even.
Yeah, I mean, survivors are in a actually decent spot because of that stealth. Like, he took so much time to find the survivor, and he's finding a non-stocked, healthy survivor that he now has to take a chase with, which gives the Nancy just free reign to work a gen bottom. And I don't even know if he can truly afford to commit to this, but if he doesn't, then Ace just gets on this gen and pops it instead. And I think that for what they were handed, the survivors have done a remarkable job of reining this back in to at least get a minorly better result than they were going to have. And yeah, as we say it, there goes the gen.
No kidding. I'm honestly like, bravo, well done to them. I'm surprised she didn't get caught on that Gen 5. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Um, Ace should be going down here soon. I know, no, I almost said Shack Pallet. God Pallet 6. I believe both of them have been thrown. This Excise Pallet is also gone 7. He's just gonna have to die corner 7 here. And Nancy getting on another progress gen. They had some decent progress all in all, but Ace being one of our PRs, if we have a PR nearby, he gets PR'd before this gen gets done. Ghostface can have a little bit of info if she doesn't get off, but I'm sure it's going to be called. And this is, yeah, it does get called. Very well done. And Nancy's opting to stealth off the gen, possibly go for hatch. This is looking like a 4K2.
Yeah, I mean, remarkable heads up play from the ace there to try and take it as deep into the corner of the map as they possibly could while the Nancy rotated to the active gen. But the regression time on it was just too great. And yeah, with that PR, I think that's going to seal it. But, you know, the Ghostface is quite a ways away from that hook, and they could pop to play for an unhook. And whichever survivor doesn't get chased can try and rotate back down to this gen, and maybe they get it popped out. Especially since the Ghostface has come all the way down. But I mean, it has maybe 50% progress on it. It would be one incredible feat to try and get it popped. They they are going to play for it though.
Yeah, no kidding. I think it is possible, but it's going to be a little tough. All of our strong pallets down here have been thrown. The only thing that remains to them right now are, you know, the famous Larry windows, which are amazing by themselves for sure. Um, and some pallets up top, possibly. And I don't think Ghostface has any interest in chasing up here right now. There is no amazing progress up here. He's more concerned about his bottom gens, I'm sure. But he does look interested in chasing this up top. Ignore me. I was looking at my other monitor. So that is going to be another down.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of faked the Nancy out, left her, making her think that she was secure, but with no pallets to really play around. Like, once he just decides to turn around and come back for you, and you don't know where he is, and he knows where you are, I mean, it's just a matter of time. And now it's just up to the ace injured to try and stealth and make something out of the slug situation.
Well, he has found Nancy and has picked her up. The question is, what do they do from here? I think, honestly, and like I said earlier, I don't want to count them out, but they could just be getting caught in this ultra losing loop right now. One's going to get down and slugged, and we're going to probably keep on doing this ad infinitum until Ghostface manages to catch both of them off guard.
Or until somebody bleeds out. I mean, that's definitely what it seems like. I don't really think that it's feasible to, you know, expect them, which I guess that Ghostface is just going to opt to hook. Gives him better information as well on the save if they decide to go for it. But it also just, oh, and he finds the ace in the corner of the map, and I think this is going to be the end of our match.
Yeah, it will, but I mean, honestly, very well played by both sides. This is a very
That was
a
quite the mind
very
game there.
a very it'll be a very it's an achievable win con. And I look forward to seeing how the survivors ghost face secures that for them.
Yeah, I mean, both sides played incredibly. 4K2 is a very reasonable win con, and we will see if Glacial's killer is managed to meet or beat it in the next game. Welcome back to game two of match one. This time we have Glacial on the Ghostface versus Astral survivors looking to beat or match a 4K2. Baron, what would you like to see from our Ghostface here to match that result?
I would love to see. I mean, it's not really so much about what I would love to see, but what he needs to do. I think what he needs to do here is get all these survivors dead by the time 3 gens are remaining. 4K2 of course will be the tie. 4K1 would be the loss. We do catch Aaron a little off guard here and get him with a fair bit of stock, but we do have an injured survivor here, 6. This could be um a decent or short chase depending on how Laura plays it. Are we on someone else now?
I guess we are. And I mean, a bit of a different start to the match than our previous game, but essentially the same result, right? Like in our previous game, the Ghostface was just hiding his injuries via stock, and this time he's just very happy and very content to just take the hits on these survivors that are just running into him. And if I was to say that, like, there's a start that I would want to meet that result that I need to beat that win con, this might just be it.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, we're this is Larry's, of course. We're eating God pallets left and right. Now, albeit Chase is being taken up towards the reset. Now, our Ghostface doesn't know that, but he is opting to abandon it in favor of possibly defending this mid to bottom section where both of his totems are. But we have 3 survivors up top. I'm not entirely sure who he's gonna find bottom.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about the first game is when you hide all of your injuries via stock and the survivors don't actually know that they're under threat, it doesn't really incentivize them to stop doing gens when they know where the Ghostface's location is. Whereas when you injure them like these have been, and they are way more likely to. Oh, I don't think the Claudette saw her Ghostface stalking them there. A little bit of confusion. Interrupting one of the resets and getting their down is very big for him. But as I was saying, it's like the survivors are not incentivized to stop working gens when you just stalk them. If they know where you are, they feel safe and they feel secure, so they're just going to crank. But in this instance, those survivors had to stop what they were doing, find a place to reset, and not get any pressure.
Yeah, no, that down up top was absolutely brutal. We do find the active gen, and we see that 8 pallet being burned. So both pallets 8 now have been thrown. I believe pallet 6 was also thrown. So the only other thing that they really have down bottom, well, they have 2 good pallets down bottom at this point. They have library left, and then they have that excise pallet that's like 5. Full stock coming in on Renato, and he, like I said, he really doesn't have anything here. If he doesn't make library pallet, he's just fucking cooked. Um, oh, well, you know what? Of course I eat my words, and he does take Chase up 4, which is the smart thing to do. However, I'm not entirely sure he makes anything. Now, I do think our Ghostface is mind gaming himself just a little bit. I don't know, this Renato could get away with this.
Yeah, I mean, all of his pressure is slowly but surely dwindling as this chase goes on, as he gets the down, right as I say something. But I think that a very glaring difference between the two matches that we're seeing right now is that the Ghostface played that early pressure to eliminate all of the problems that he was going to be facing in the match and interrupt as much progress as he possibly could, which was where our first Ghostface kind of struggled a little bit, where they had a lot of early pressure, but they didn't manage to, capitalize on it. But we find Arnia here upstairs trying to hide from this main gen.
And she does get found and subsequently downed. He's going to go ahead and hook her on this pain res and then possibly hold cross. We have both survivors injured. And now, it does look like they're healing, though. But Laura opting to stay injured to send Claude up for the save. So it seems that our survivors are pretty cognizant of the fact that there is a fair amount of stock on Laura and are playing around that quite well. The question is whether or not they're going to manage to get Roller off the hook before they hit second.
Yeah, and I mean they really need to, right? Because if this survivor hits second and then gets tunneled out on 4, we're in a very similar situation with a lot more pressure built up. Whether the survivors know about the stock or not, that would be really huge for the Ghostface to enter a 3v1 with a survivor basically insta down and another survivor already staged with very little progress because what they have is bleeding.
Yeah, no, but I mean, we are already at 3 gens remaining, and like I said, this is where he needs all of these survivors dead if he's expecting to win this match. One more gen pops, that's tie. Another gen pops after that, that's a loss. So our Ghostface is on a very strict timeline right now. If this tunnel out on the Renato doesn't come in ASAP, he's kind of cooked. Now that flashbang does come in, he does get blinded, but Arenado doesn't really get anywhere with it. As we've already discussed, all of the strong pallets down this way have been thrown. The only one remaining to him is this Excise Pallet 5, and like I said earlier, I think they're playing on ping. This could be pretty dodgy for him.
Yeah,
Oh.
and we do happen to know that they're playing on ping as the Hanatu manages to get stuck in the corner. Unfortunately, with a good swing from Markilla there to body block it. All things considered, these survivors have played very well, even with the like sketchy getting caught out on the edge map during resets. Like they're still managed to get a lot of pressure as they achieve their Tycon with what I would have to assume was probably a double gen. And the Servs are in a very good spot to win this set if they can pop another gen.
Yeah, they are, and we do see that down coming in on the Laura. Both of the serves are resetting up 12 side, and I don't know, like this isn't looking bad for them. It is very achievable for them to win this matchup. Um, I I'm curious how you think this is going to play out.
I mean, at this point, there's two avenues. The our killer has achieved all of their fresh hooks and they still have a PR in the basket, but there is a reality that they have to come to that they may very well need to start slugging for pressure to try and stop these generators from going, especially with Ruin still up. But also with these survivors both being healthy, no stock on the board, only one survivor really in danger right now as they're on hook. If these survivors take it nice and slow, play the game methodically, they just whittle down these gens, eventually one is going to pop and achieve that win con.
Yeah, I know for certain. And this Laura has absolutely nothing but a prayer down here. If she decides to stay bottom side, she is just going to die. Now, she does have this filler over here, but, you know, we all know that this filler is just absolute garbage. Total 50, and he does go ahead and get her down here. The gen progress on the board is minimal at best. We have like 25% of the gen at a moment. And this is our remaining PR with both Ruin and Undying still on the board. If he can manage to keep this pressure up on these survivors with this buffed Ruin, this could be a tie.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the effect of the 3v1 in the previous game, and this time he still has Ruin and Undying that these survivors really can't dedicate any amount of time to cleanse, which means it's very likely that he's going to keep it. And the servers are playing this back and forth game now where they don't really have any resources, so their chases just can't last that long. And they unhook somebody and then instantly have to unhook another person. They don't really have time to do anything else.
Absolutely not. Claude's over here is, you know, stuck being the unhooked person, while, you know, Laura um, and Nia are both stuck, you know, doing a little bit of gen progress and then getting kicked off of it and Ruin absolutely decimating their progress. That 100 to 150 buff is really showing its metal right now. And I think we're going to see a really quick tunnel out coming in. I think the survivors are counting on that. I can't help but to wonder, though, if the more efficient play wouldn't have been to go down bottom to try to interrupt the gen. But here's what's going to really matter right now is if he makes a conscious decision to leave Claude and gun it bottom in order to stop some of that gen progress. However, I fear even if he does get to Laura, if she can get to a safe resource, it's looking questionable at best. Claude just trades her place and gets back on the gen that Laura was on.
Yeah, but unfortunately, both of the gens were progressed are in the same hallway. He can kind of just stand between them. But I think the survivors need to call his bluff here and just get back on that gen and try and get it out while this Claude is in chase. And I was going to point out that I would agree with you that I think he should have just left and went and pressured the gen. I think the survivors knew that. That's why they pulled so quickly, knowing that even if he took the chase, it would be a quick tunnel out because the Lara just gets to sit here down on this gen for free. And I mean, now it's at such a high amount of progress that. And oh no, we see the stock
Oh,
come through on the Claudette. I think this could be huge for our Ghostface.
oh,
If he
this
can
is
find the Lara.
absolutely, this is beautiful for our Ghostface. We have it down right next to the Prog gens. Laura is stuck urban evasioning up 8. I do think we're going to see a tie here if our Ghostface plays this right. There isn't a whole lot he can do to not play it right. He just keeps her here and just really plays a series of 50s until she's down. There's not a whole lot our Laura can do here. I think both sides played this incredibly well, but this is going to shape up to be a tie. I think I am looking forward to what the next 2 sets are going to be like, because that's what this is going to be. We are at 2 more sets regardless of what happens from here on out.
Yeah, what a wonderful way to close this match out with the Claudette not knowing that he had just stealthed into that room and was content protecting his gen and letting Laura go, and showing herself, not knowing she was stalked, getting that insta down, and securing that Tycon for his team. As
Very
we,
huge indeed.
as to say, as we have to search for our slug somewhere, as we do find it.
And yeah, no, there's really not much more to say here. How's your day, Liminal?
I'm doing fantastic. I literally woke up like moments before this match was supposed to start.
What a trooper. You and some other people here as well. I'm not going to name the other people, but let's just say you're not the only one. And a nice little selfie to go. So thank you all. We will be right back with the next set. Liminal, what is that set?
We have Deathslinger with Glacial Killing first.
Beautiful. Let's see you then.
All right, finally, welcome back to match 2, game 1. Glacial on the Deathslinger. This time we have Soma playing instead of Monica, and Astral on the Survivor. Unfortunately, in our last attempt at this set, we had a dedicated server error costing the survivors the DC, which resulted in a no fault restart. And then in conjunction with that, Glacial's killer player also had some PC struggles, as we talked about in set 1, with their PC having exploded. They are unable to play, so just a lot of back end from us. As Soma finds a very early survivor this time, much quicker start than before. Baron, how are we feeling?
You know, I'm feeling amazing about this right now if I'm the Slinger. Very early first down before any prog is on the board. This PR is essentially gonna be a waste when it comes to the gen regression it's gonna get, but it looks like Somi is choosing to forgo PR in this immediate moment. A very wise decision, because there's not even 20% gen prog on the board. So we have a very early down right up top. And Slinger seems to be kind of wise to the fact that we have a stealth somewhere around top, but he doesn't quite find it. Aaron electing to stealth right next to the hook until our Slinger has decided to go down map 3, but I don't think he's gonna leave this area. What are your projections?
I mean, we have a much worse gen split this time than in the previous match. Very unfortunate for our Slinger, but this hook is right in the middle of this really tight 3 gen, even 4 gen, and I think that our killer is seemingly wise to there having to be a stealth top to get this pull, and is very content just holding it, not, standing too close as to let them get this water tower prog for free, but, at least stop and disincentivize a quick pull here as we see it come through. And I think we're going to see him pursue this tunnel out now.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I'm interested as to why he didn't shoot Renato through the window there. I mean, enough time had passed, he could have held him onto the chain and gotten the down. And it looks like that down isn't going to come in now okay, well, I'm eating my words. The body block doesn't come in. The tunnel is going to happen, and I think we're going to see our first PR of the match, but not quite in time. Nancy probably gets this, and he's just going to go ahead and opt for go PR, I suppose. Though that he looks like he might, question that decision, but it's not going to come in time. Unfortunately for our slinger, he, was a little wishy-washy on the decision making there. So a second gen does pop. Claude's still stealthing up top. But there isn't much gen prog beyond what is presently happening. A cheeky pre-drop coming in, another eruption proc coming in. This is looking pretty decent for our slinger. A really nice 4 gen up top. 3 gens are incredibly tight. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we see the agitation very common on these ranged killers just because it allows you to position your hooks so effectively. And he wanted to take them into his gens towards the water tower. And then he saw the survivor lurking around the gen and was worried that, even with agitation, if he carries all the way there, he's just going to get the hit take and then he's going to wiggle free. So he had to opt to take him to this other pain res, and that cost him the gen pop as we see a very quick unhook again. I think the survivors are trying to get this survivor down map so that they can work the stop side. And I think that's very smart. It's what they need to do, because if the Hanatu dies up here on 3 gens remaining, it's going to be very difficult for these survivors to pop these gens.
Difficult indeed. Honestly, I dare say impossible. We're gonna have to see some really crazy gameplay from these survivors right now, but it looks like Ramato may just make it down map nearly scot-free. He has this variant right here. He honestly could be chilling. Now, if he loses this 50 though, that could be catastrophic, but Claude is here for him. So, it's not necessarily black and white. He could have made Shaq off that, possibly opting to go to this TNL over here mid-8s. I'm interested as to what his play is gonna be. He quick and quiets into a locker, but Slinger is wise to it, doesn't pick the right one, and gets head on. Now I do think Renato is going to die down here, but a lot has been gotten for his, and a body block excellently coordinated by our survivor team. This is amazing gameplay. I'm quite impressed.
I mean, honestly, from the spot that they were in, it was looking really rough for our survivors. And this team play right now is out of this world. Even getting the mid chase head on as a survivor who is being tunneled out is very difficult to pull off. And then that buying him the time for the Nancy to come in and take a beautiful body block. And that's going to be at least our 4 gen broken up now.
Yeah, no, that is incredible. So I do believe that the 3 gen that was really tight, that's what we saw just get popped up. And I mean, all of the remaining gens are up top, so this isn't impossible, but this is going to be very difficult on our slinger. He has a really uh tough situation ahead of him. He really can't hook this up top. I don't think he makes that PR, and if he does, it's just barely. Um, and I I don't know. I honestly don't know where this goes from here.
I mean, that was a really risky drag carrying them all the way from bottom up to this like top mid PR, but at least for what it's worth, that puts him in a significantly more advantageous position, and he gets a beautiful shot on the Claudette through the hook, which means he's not even going to really lose, you know, too much out of it. But you have to imagine that this Adam is currently working one of those 3 gens, and he hasn't even checked them yet.
Yeah, no, he hasn't checked him at all, and I really don't think he can commit to this. And I think he understands that he's gonna go ahead and not head back up top and commit down to the quad. We're gonna possibly go back up top and check our gens now. Adam does have about 20% on a gen, I believe, and the Claude and Nancy are gonna heal down window side of Shack. This is it's not impossible for our slinger to come back from this, but this is looking um precarious, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed pretty confident. He saw the reset come through that they couldn't have had too much progress. But I mean, he spent a lot of time in the bottom side of that map that he did not need to spend trying to get those shots that just he couldn't quite land. And now he has to find the survivor stopping stealthing top, because he has to know that he's going to be losing 2 health states in the bottom side of the map that he can't really pressure. And even though it's only 20%, like 20% is a lot of progress when it's a 3 gen in the 3v1 where you want to be getting as quick downs as you possibly can, keep refreshing those hooks. You're down a PR. Like in a situation like this, I think he really, really, really wants to find a survivor mistake here, and I don't think he's going to.
No, I don't think so either. Our Claude and Nancy are both very carefully trying to stealth up top. Um, and our Slinger is just simply not finding it. Now, he does see one over there, 9, but he can't exactly commit. We know Adam is somewhere around here stealthing top, and Adam has just found himself another gen to get on. So, if we don't get a few quick injuries and a down here quick, this is looking troublesome indeed. And we don't even get the injury off of that, a stun coming in. This is now Claude is chasing it towards main though, instead of taking the hit down bottom, which is interesting. So this really could actually be a godsend for our Slinger here.
Yeah, I
Um
mean,
yeah,
this
no, good.
is this is like the worst possible scenario for our survivors here if this Claudette dies top, but I would imagine that our other two survivors are probably doubling that gen over in one, and like that's the only reason this Claudette could be so emboldened. And I think our Slinger knows that they are gonna opt to drop this chase and pressure them off of this gen. And like given the situation that he's in, that really unfortunate miss of the shot at that filler into the stun, like just bought so much time for the Claude that she didn't really care what happened after that, as they just had so much progress and so much time. But he does catch the Nancy out, stealthing up top, and push the Atom away.
He did, but we get no injuries from it. He is going to go ahead and kick this gen. Not before he gets blast mine. That's unfortunate. He is going to go ahead, kick this gen, and another reset is going to come in. This may come down to gen kicks. This is honestly a little scary.
Survivors are playing really slow, really safe. They're resetting every injury, running straight bottom. This is exactly what you would expect out of counterplay to a 4.4 on this map. Is like once your pressure is gone and the survivors have overridden it with resets and have put a lot of pressure down on your gens, like it becomes incredibly hard to pressure gens that seemingly aren't that split, but in reality, when you move so slow, it's just such an adventure to journey from one side to the other. And we do see a nice shot, try to get that value out of Cigar, but didn't quite get it. And now we're gonna see the Atom trying to take the chase bottom.
We do, and we're gonna see, hopefully for our Slinger, an eruption proc, but it doesn't quite come in. He's gonna have to abandon this chase. He knows it. He's gonna go back up here and check one. Um, Now, what I can say is that Nancy seems to be sticking her gen right now, and we're not seeing a reset come in. This could be a survivor mistake, potentially. If our Deathslinger can manage to capitalize on it, that could be huge for him. But even if they continue to harass these gens at 11 and 1 respectively, this could or 10 and 1 respectively, this could be very dicey indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw our Adam trying to rotate up to that Gen N10 to try and sit on that Gen with the Nancy or get a reset there. And it didn't quite come through. He did manage to interrupt it, but like we know because this Gen is not regressing anymore that there has to be a survivor here, and this Gen has way too much progress for the Slinger to really leave it for any amount of time. And he knows that that other Gen N10 is being worked. And this is what I'm talking about, that long distance that you have to travel as a 4.4. It's just not possible to protect both as we see the Gen and 10 go. And now we're going to see the survivors trying to make their way bottom to open these doors.
Yeah, and he has to go down here. I mean, he has okay-ish gates. I mean, he could have a more preferable setup. Um, but for being a 110 killer, this is probably just about the best you could ask for on Suffo with regards to gate spawns. Um, I I don't know. This is looking like a 3 out with potentially 2 fresh out. Um, Now, ideally, our Slinger finds either Claude or Adam right now and gets a quick chase, but these survivors have shown they're willing to play it slow and methodically, so it isn't necessarily a given that he's even going to get a chance to interact with one of them.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful shot there on the Nancy on the edge map. But not the survivor he wants. He wants one of these fresh. And I mean, a similar situation to those gens where these gates are on polar opposite sides of this bottom. And the one saving grace is that unlike the top where they have all those fillers and all those resources, there aren't as many on the bottom side here. But I mean, they're just very content to just stay top for the moment, get a reset, and then start to pressure these doors. We do find the Atom here in main, and we may see our Slinger opt to play for this down because at least it's another fresh secured. And if you can, get the survivor dead, that's 3 extra stages for you.
Yeah, it is, and it looks like he may just get this down if he's fast enough with it. I don't think Claude makes it for the body block. The question is, how is our Slinger going to play this? He's looking like he wants to go for a kind of a funny trick shot, and it looks like our survivors are perfectly content taking this 2 out here. Yeah, no, they're just taking the 2 out. They're going to let the Atom die. So, it looks like it will be a 2K with 1 fresh out. So hold up, math was never my strong suit. I was a music major for a
7
reason.
stages, yeah. So 8 stages win con. And I mean, you have to imagine that the Slinger's not feeling horrible here either. Like, that was looking like it was going to be a 3-stage game, and he was able to find the Atom on the top side and secure that down and get that extra 3 stages for his team. And you have to be happy getting a 7 stage instead of 4 stages.
No kidding. So we will see you back for this final matchup. I did mess up earlier. I told you guys that there would be 2 more sets regardless. Lie detector to test determined that was a lie. Whoever wins this set takes it all. So we will see you next for the other team's killer, and they have quite a win con ahead of them, but I think it is achievable. It really could be anyone's game. We will see you then.
All right, welcome back for game 2 of match 2. To see who decides this matchup between Astral and Glacial, we have Astral on the killer now versus Glacial survivors, and we are trying to secure 8 stages here, and we find a survivor really quickly this game as well. Baron, what are you expecting out of this match?
I don't really know what to expect. Like our win con is 7 stages, I believe. And this is this is going to be interesting for sure. I am not entirely sure why we didn't take that shot. But yeah, no, this is going to be interesting for sure. I think we're going to see a pretty quick down, and it's all about what our killer and survivors do from there. I can't say that I have a hard prediction one way or the other.
Yeah, and I mean, the survivors have probably a much worse gen split this time, with the 4 gen really being bot side, which is a lot lighter on resources than top side of the map. And we're seeing a very quick basement. And with that, we also have a very interesting perk decision to try and help and secure that win con, which is 8 stages for the win, 7 for the tie, because Soma did secure that final 3 with the fresh in their end game. And survivors need to have a lot of pressure here because they need to be cranking as fast as they possibly can manage, because they need to get a lot of stages out of this game.
Yeah, they do, and we see a really fast pool coming in. Smart move on the survivors part, because my initial thought was all old boy needs to do is sit on top of that damn that basement, watch her die, go get another fresh, and then Rancor Claude at the end. And the survivors did not let that happen. This pallet already being broken. I think Nia's going to go down really soon here. She didn't have a whole lot of things that she can do, and I think we're going to see our first PR coming in, followed by, or rather, our first eruption proc coming in, followed by a quick PR. This is not a bad start for our Slinger at all. However, all of our PRs are up top. That is painful. That is one of the, unfortunate RNG aspects of Scourge hooks, and you see that in full effect right here.
Yeah, I mean, very unlucky for our Slinger. The one place they don't want to be at all during this match is where they need to be if they want to get value out of that regression perk. But as they say, you don't really need your regression if you manage to continue this snowball, keep the pressure up, stop them from working the gens. And right now, their highest prog on this bottom side is currently regressing with a hook on top of it.
Yeah, it is, but we do know for certain where two survivors are right now. I'm not entirely keen on where the third is. We have one serve up top around 10, one serve down bottom. I want to say they're around 5. I don't remember exactly. And one serve whose whereabouts are unknown to me. I think that okay, that's Nancy. That's because she's at main. So we're just cranking gens right now. The only person not cranking a gen is the Rancor. So I think we're gonna see a second stage come in at 4 gens, which is amazing for our Slinger. And yeah, no, I think that this is pretty winnable for Slinger right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what the Slinger wants to see there. They want that second stage so that they can attempt a quick tunnel out. And we're interrupting this gen on the bottom with this ace stuck on the edge map. And like Rancor not working a gen because she was setting up for that save. Like Nancy's working a gen. She's surely going to pop one. But like, this is the pressure I was talking about. Is like, if you can't get your PR and you can't get that regression, you need to keep it so that the survivors can't get that progress in the places that you don't want it.
Yeah, no, but the question is, was taking this chase down bottom instead of going right back for the tunnel to play. I'm not entirely certain, but we do see a basement hook coming in on the ace, and that is 4 stages at the moment. So as far as stages go, we're sitting pretty well. Um, Now, yeah, no, this isn't a bad place to be at all.
Yeah, I mean, the Slinger has to feel happy here because if this ace hits second, then even if the survivors manage to pop all 3 gens, if he manages to catch Leclaud with Rancor in the end game, that's just it. That's the 3 stages he would need to secure 8 and win. So I think the spot that he's in right now with this bottom side still fairly protected. I mean, there's some progress in 4, but he knows Shack is silent. He knows his gen in 8 is silent. He knows that this gen in the mid is not very safe for them to work if he patrols it, which they are going to try. And the Nancy's going to get caught out and tagged here for it. And we know another survivor was here as well. And this is what puts the survivor in the position where they like have to rotate as quickly as possible to get this ace, which they did.
They do, and that blast one coming in very handy right now. We see what I wanna assume was an FTP. I'm gonna need to check builds right quick, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that was an FTP on our Nancy. No, it was clean break. Excuse me. So clean break coming in on Nancy, and we have our ace over here. That would, if we go ahead and we get this down right now, that could very well be our the math is not my strong suit, people.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 stages. Oh my gosh, and wait! No way! Okay. We don't get it, but that would have been honestly just crazy as hell. So we are going to see 5 stages at this point at 2 gens remaining. Our Slinger is sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, he secures that extra stage, puts us up to 5. He nearly secured a 6th stage by a beautiful snipe onto Clownfish there as he was pathing up to 9 and out the door after baiting the head on that he very clearly knew was there. And I mean, look at this progress they have in this bottom side, though, with this hook in basement. That's non existent. I mean, that 4 has like maybe 10% if we're being generous. And like survivors are opting to reset here. It's like, Nia's here to pressure the gen, but like Slinger's super patient, just gonna get this shot onto the Nia, and if this breaks with Cigar, she might be in trouble.
Yeah, no, she very well could be in trouble. I mean, Cigar was made partially base kit only but like what, a year and some change ago. And so partially base kit Cigar with Cigar, we're gonna see a very reduced stun time in and a death right now. So that is 3. That's 6 stages with a death on the board at 2 gens remaining. All our Slinger needs to do right now is get one more hook, and that's tie 2 more hooks, and correct me if I'm wrong, friend, that's the win.
Yeah, I mean, if he downs anyone except for the ace right now, he can literally just camp them until they hit their next stage, and that will be win con. And that is a very good spot to be in if you're a slinger who loves to play that proxy camp, pressure my gens while I'm holding a hook type of play style that forces trades and forces you to not be able to work. But our Claudia here is having a pretty decent chase, and they're going to probably take this hit and go top. And our slinger made, oh my god,
Oh,
beautiful shot to deny the top side of the map. And that's going to be our down. And I mean, that's exactly what he needed as he faults the window on accident. But I mean, with this hook, I mean, this is a potential for 3 stages. And if they stage up even to second stage, like that's the win. And I see him eyeing our basement. I don't know if he would make it with this hit take, though.
it doesn't look like the
There,
survivors are too interested in giving him one, though. I think Nancy tried, but it's not going to come in. And we're seeing the survivors accept their fate.
yeah.
And this hook, if he just hooked Nancy right now, that's the win, no?
Yeah, but survivors have realized that they have lost, so they're playing, silly games just to end it out, and they've just accepted that that's the win. I kind of see the vision that if you get that unhook really quickly, and Claudia is able to take the hit take for you, that like you maybe make it out of basement. It's unlikely because it's Slinger, but I see the vision, I see the attempt. But once that failed, obviously they just knew that that was it. That was the stage that the Slinger needed to call it, and that's going to be the match for Astral.
Yeah, I mean, this was very well played by both sides. We had some unfortunate technical difficulties that led to the survivors, Slinger to need to bow out of this match, which was very unfortunate for them. Um, the stars just kind of aligned in the Slingers team's favor, and they will be taking this home.
Yeah, I mean, Astral played a phenomenal game today as well. Not to discount, the technical issues in Glacial, unfortunately, having to sub out their Slinger. While that was unfortunate and did result in a disproportionate result for them, like Astral still played a phenomenal game. I mean, from start to finish, like even when the survivors seemed like they were in pretty, unfortunate circumstances, pretty grim situations, they still managed to pull it back and just, make up for their mistakes to eke out just a little bit more of WinCon every time. And like that first set, like was incredibly exciting because of how close it was. And they showed up for the Slinger set and said, "We're not tying again. We want this win." And they got it.
They most certainly did. Now, don't you guys go anywhere, chat. We do have another match that I believe is due to start in just 9 minutes. And who are the teams that are playing in that liminal?
So we have Odyssey versus Anida playing up next with, uh, I believe it is Blight. And I'm going to check to be sure so I don't lie to anybody. It is Blight Artist Unknown.
And I thank you all for showing up. I will be heading out now, but Liminal will be casting, hopefully with someone else here in the next 9 minutes. And until then, I will see you guys, and you guys stay tuned for this next matchup. See you in a minute.